everyone. So I'm Swathi from CodeKaroYaaro International Kids Coding School, and I am back with another video. Okay, so in today's class what we are going to do is we are going to learn about a very important concept which is called as the data storage. Okay, now what is this data storage? Why is it so important? Let me tell you. So whenever you are doing any kind of project or a survey form or registration form, like each and every data which you are doing, getting from the user or the data which you are saving, everything should be stored, okay, in your database. Okay, so storing the data in a mini projects will be in two types. One will be using variables and one will be using list. Okay, now let me tell you what is a variable. Okay, so a variable is a kind of container or a storage box which is used for storing the data. Okay, now a variable can only store a single kind of data and also a very little amount of data. It cannot store very huge amount of data and everything. Okay, now the second thing which we are going to learn is about list. Okay, so what is a list? It is gonna store a section of different data. So okay, for example, when you're playing an archery game, okay, every time when you shoot the arrow to a specific color, each and every color will be having its own points, correct? So what will it happen? First, if you shoot on the red color, it will be storing you 100 points, and then if you shoot on another color, it's gonna shoot below the 100 points, it's gonna store one more, and then like that it is gonna store one by one whenever you're getting the point. It is not going to mix everything. Okay, that is a list. So even if I want to say about list in a very simple example, when you go to a convenience store or when you go to supermarket or anything, if your parents or if anybody tells you to get a list of items, okay, so you will be writing everything in a piece of paper, or you will be writing it in your notepad, or in your any sticky notes or somewhere like that. You will be writing one by one. First one this, second one this, third one this, like that, so we will be storing each and everything one by one in a list format. Okay, so that is a list where we are going to store the data differently. Okay, so when it comes to variables, so a variable can store data but in a mixed format. Like for example, in the first game if you're getting 100 points, in the second game if you're getting 200 points, it is not going to store one by one, but it's going to mix everything, 100 plus 200, 300, so your total score will be 300. Okay, so it is not going to show you the breakout of the score which you're getting. Okay, it's going to store everything mixed format. Okay, that is the main difference between a variable and a list. And also in the list, you can store different kinds of data types. Okay, like for example, I think you know what is the meaning of a data type, where you will be learning about integers, which is for numbers, and characters, which is for a letter, like alphabetical letters A, B, C, D, something like that, and a string, a combination of characters which will form a word. Like for example, we might take ball is a string, code is a kind of string. So combination, when group of characters will form together to form a word, is called as a string. And we have a lot of data types like arrays and float and then double and structure and everything. So in that, list is one of the data type which will store different kinds of data in it. It will not only store numbers, but it can also store strings. Okay, like that. Okay, now that is the main difference between the variables and the list. Now after that one, what we are going to do is, in this data storage there will be having different kinds of procedures. We will be also learning about checkboxes. Where we can see these checkboxes normally is when you're opening a registration form. Okay, so you will be having list out the favorite characters which you like in this anime. So in a particular anime, we will not only like a single character, right? So in a particular foods, okay, list the food whichever you like. So we are not going to put only a single tick on a specific particular food, and we are going to say this is my favorite and I'm going to eat this for my rest of my life. Not like that. So we are going to tick everything whichever we needed. Okay, that is a checkbox where you can select multiple options at the same time. Okay, now where come to radio buttons, you can only select a single option at a time. Okay, let us take an example. In a registration form we will be having like select gender, male, female. We cannot select both of them, right? So we have to select only one of them. That is a radio button. Okay, so how can we say the difference between them is radio buttons will be circle. Okay, and the checkboxes will be square shaped. Okay, where you can see a major difference in that. Okay, circle is a different thing and square is a different thing. So when you're having multiple options, if they're like beside the options you will be having square boxes, then it is a checkbox. And when you're seeing a circle color, like circle type of shapes beside the options, it is a radio button. Okay, and whereas come to text input, like where you can enter a random text, a random like paragraph or something like that, is a check inputs. And yeah, we will be also learning about rows and columns in today's class. And also one more important thing, we are going to use a different version of Thunkable in today's class. Okay, not the normal version which we normally use like for the previous classes and everything. That was the latest version of Thunkable, but we are going to use a different version of Thunkable in today's class. Why? Because in few of the systems we will be having this format also. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you learn all the types of Thunkable actions whichever we have in the Thunkable application. Yeah, so without making any delay, let us go to the project. And I forgot to tell you about the project. So we are going to make a project for a to-do list. Like for example, as I told you, we are going to create a list of items and we are going to enter that. Like for example, we are going to schedule everything. So what all we have to do in a particular day. Okay, so we have to write that and we have to keep it in a to-do list. So when you complete that work, we are going to put a tick mark on it. Yeah, it is completed, like that. Okay, so we are going to make a to-do list in today's class. Without any delay, let us go to the project. So let me share my screen now. 1 minute. So yeah, I hope everybody can see my screen. So now I'm gonna go to Thunkable and I'm gonna directly log in to Thunkable application. Wait a minute. Log in, and it's gonna take some while. So here, as you can see, like how many projects are done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So one more. So I'm gonna click on create a new app, and here I'm gonna give regularly like a to-do list to do list. Okay, now after that I'm gonna make like education, entertainment. No, I'm not gonna give entertainment, education, and maybe you can make it like lifestyle. Why? Because we are gonna add all the to-do list, like what all the things which we need to do in our life and everything. So lifestyle, and maybe you can make it with shopping, because to-do list can also be worked in shopping things when you're going out, and if whatever you want to buy, you have to just put it over there. If you have bought that, just give a tick mark. Yes, I think 3 are fine. And now normally we will not remove this tick mark when we are normally creating the project. So I'm going to remove this tick mark and I'm going to click on create. Okay, now what is the difference between them? Let me show you. Okay, so in the previous projects and everything, it was not like this. So the screen is different, the color is different, the components are different, and all the other things. Okay, the main difference over here is, in this particular version we will be having two kinds of components. Normally in the previous version there was only a single component. Every component will be in a single place, but over here we will be having two different kinds of components. One is called as visible components, one is called as invisible components. Now what is the meaning of this visible and invisible? So when we are keeping visible components on the screen, when you're previewing it, those components will be visible in the preview. Okay, like in the output it will be visible, and when we are adding invisible components, it will not show you in the output. Okay, it will remain hidden. Okay, so it will be not showing you in the output, it will be only showing you in the coding part. When you're designing it, you will be adding an invisible component and that will not be visible when you're giving the output. Okay, so now without any delay we will start making it. and the rest of the things are similar. Like we will be having components, we will be having like what are the components we are adding, and here we will be having invisible components. It will show us like what are the visible components you are adding in the screen, what are the invisible components you are adding in the screen. Okay, like for example the sound and the local system, a database, and all these things. No, so it is not necessary to show that to each and every user. Yeah, I have used this local display, local storage, so that this local storage will be storing all of your data. It is not necessary, but some of the things you have to definitely show to the user. Like for example, click on the button to go to that particular screen. The button should be visible, no, and the screen should be visible. But how the process is happening inside that, like when you're clicking on it, how it is moving to that particular screen, the coding part is invisible. Okay, it is not necessary to show everything to the user. The user should need to know whatever he needs to know. That's it. Okay, that is most important thing when you're doing like any project or any application or any game or anything. Okay, so it is not like necessary to show everything. Okay, now we will be adding in the same way. Okay, background color, we will be having background image, so it will be different. Okay, like differently. So I'm just gonna add some background color to it, maybe bluish color. Okay, now I'm gonna add a component, okay, which is called as a label. Now the thing over here is, whenever you add something, it will be in the middle. Okay, it will not, we cannot be able to change the space, like place for the particular component like the other version. This version is a kind of difficult thing to learn, but you will be having a lot of things like new versions and everything. Like we will be having invisible components over here. Like I'll show you the invisible components later, but in this is the first version of Thunkable, and it has a lot of things which we need to learn. Why? Because like why I'm teaching you this version also is, it is like sometimes we will be having a like situation where we have to do code in this particular like version also. So in that particular time we should not hesitate making it, or we should not get any confused or anything like that. Okay, so I'm gonna like add the label, and I'll show you how to change the like positions, and how to we keep it in the top, how to keep it in the bottom. I'll just show you everything. Okay, so click on the label, and I'm gonna rename the label, not in the top, maybe in the text. I can rename it as to-do list, to list, and then font size, 1 minute. So font size maybe like 25, yeah, and the number of lines is, when you're adding a paragraph, in how many number of lines you need to show it. Okay, sometimes when we are adding something, I want everything to be in a single line. So at that time, if you add number 1, whatever the content you're adding over there, it will be showing in a single line. Okay, now line height and everything is not needed. I'm gonna change the color of the text to blue, no, black, no, red. We can also make it like bold and everything. I'll show you how. The background color of the particular like transparent, yes, that looks good. Now font style, we will be having normal and italic. So alignment to be in the center, we don't need anything else. And also margin and everything. Now if you want to make it like another things, text style and sizing and spacing and positioning, you have to go to advanced. Okay, text style not needed. So maybe styling, solid, dotted, like these things are like for the borders. Okay, so now once you have added that one, what is the next thing we need to add is, so we can add an image. Okay, so we can add like we can search for it actually, image, and get it and keep it over here. And one more thing, now when you're adding something, it will always go to the top, and how to get it in the bottom is over here in the component section. Like what are the components? Now click on the image, drag it, and you can see a red color line over there, and place it wherever you wanted to place it. Okay, now after placing it, what will happen is click on it, and then go to a new tab, and to-do list, images. Okay, yeah, that will be fine. So go to images and get this one. This is looking so good. Right click, copy image address, go back to Thunkable, click on the image and then wait, simple picture, type URL, erase the HTTP and Control V. Now whether we have to check whether it is added or not. If you want to check that, you have to click on preview, see, and then click on edit. So when you click on preview, it will be added. Now we have to make it a bit bigger. Okay, the size, maybe make it absolute size, make it like a 200, and then the width maybe 200. Now if I preview it, yeah, I think that will be fine. Now click on edit, and now I'm gonna add a button. So add a button, so it will be in the top. So the normal thing, click and drag and keep it in the bottom. Now I'm gonna click on the button and I'm gonna rename the button as let's go. So okay, so you can rename it in the ID by clicking on rename. So let's go. And now I need to change the background color for this. Maybe black will be fine. Yeah, that looks good. And also you can change the font size to 20. Maybe make it bigger. And you can also add images for the particular buttons and all the other things. If you want, you can feel free to add them. Okay. Now how to make it separated? Why? Because when I click on preview, everything is attached together. I don't need everything to be attached. So click on it and now go to the bottom. So you can see margin, right? So here it is quite opposite. If you want a space in the top, you have to change the bottom. Okay. Now let us make it example for the top. If I make it 20, it will come down. Okay. So rather than making that, I'm going to change the bottom 20. See. So when you're making it in the bottom, it will give you space in the bottom. Okay. Now maybe I can make it 50 so that it could go to the top. Now click on the image and the same thing 50. Now if I click on preview, it's gonna look like this. Okay, to-do list and click on let's go. Now what I'm gonna do is click on the screen and I'm gonna rename the screen as welcome screen. Okay, now what is the next thing is we need to add the other thing. Okay, the next screen. So it is simple, just click on add screen. Now we have to add the second screen, which is a main screen for us. I'm gonna rename it as to do screen. Okay, now I'm gonna change the background color maybe to orange, not this, maybe orange, a little bit lighter one. Yeah, that will be fine. Now after that one, I'm gonna add a component which is a label. Okay, now I'm gonna rename this label as welcome to the to-do list app. Okay, you can change the font size, styles and all the other things. That is completely up to you. Okay, I'm just going to keep it simple. So now I'm just going to change the background color for this one. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, this one. Maybe we can make it a little bit. Yeah, now I'm going to change the color to white. That will be fine. So now after that one, I'm going to add a text input. So a text input is a component where the user can be able to add his own component input over there. Okay, like whatever he wants to add, he can add it that is called as text input. So I'm gonna keep it in the bottom. Okay, now I'm not gonna rename anything for this. Okay, now after that one, I'm gonna add buttons. So I'm gonna add two buttons, one and then 2. So I'm gonna keep the button 1 to the bottom, keep the button 2 to the bottom. Now click on the button 1 and I'm gonna rename in the ID as add, and over here I'm gonna rename it as add. No, maybe capital letters. Okay, now change the font text color to pinkish color. Maybe you can choose your colors, okay, whichever you want. It's not necessary teacher is giving pink color, I should only give pink color. No, nothing like that. So you can give whatever color you needed. So I'm just gonna give you some random colors so that it could look a little bit good. Okay, I'm not so good at colors, so you can add whatever color you want. Now I'm gonna add this and rename it as reset. So why reset is, once you have done all the things whichever you have in the to-do list, so I'm going to click on reset so that I could add some new activities to it. Okay, so reset, and I'm going to rename it as reset and change the text color to maybe red. Once again, I'm telling you, I'm not good at colorings, combinations and everything, so you can pick whatever color you need. Okay, so I'm gonna change it like this. Now after that one, I'm gonna add a thing called as a component called as column. Okay, so I'm gonna add the first column. Wait, subtract first column, not in the top but over here. Okay, but before that one, I'm gonna add a row, and I'm gonna add a row over here maybe. Now I'm gonna keep the row over here. Inside the row I need two columns. Okay, so column 1, I'm gonna keep it. See, when you have to add inside the row, you can see a sidebar, red color one, so leave it over there. And then I'm gonna add one more column over here. Yes, inside the row. So I have two columns. Now I'm gonna change the size of the row. Okay, so maybe I have to change the height. So height, absolute size, maybe make it 100. No, that's too small. Maybe 200. Even that is okay. Now I need to change the spacing between the components. Click on it. So I'm gonna change the margin as I already did in the last one. So maybe make it 35, because I need to adjust everything to be visible. Okay, I cannot make one single component to go out of the screen. One component should be really big, not like that. So whenever you're using margins or anything padding or anything, you have to make sure that every component is visible. Okay, and what is this margin is the space between the component to the outer border of the entire screen is called as margin. The space between the entire margin to the component which you are adding, okay, that is called as margins. Now I'm gonna change it, the next one, to the text input. The same thing I'm gonna change, but a little bit less, 25 may be fine. Now for the add also, you can add a row. Okay, side by side you can make it with keep it. Like for example, I'm gonna add a row where below the text input you can directly add it like this. Now I can add oh sorry, it went up. So add and yeah, reset. Now I need to change left and right, because from top to bottom it is looking so good, but left and right it is attached. I have to make it separated. So first I need to change the row size. Maybe we can change the height, absolute size, make it like 50. That is perfect. And now I'm gonna change the bottom of margin like 25, because I don't need it to be attached together. Now I can make click on add. I'm gonna change the left to 20. No, not left, maybe right. 20. Oh sorry, click backspace 20. That will be fine. So if you want to add even more spacing, you can feel free to do that. Okay, so now this is all the designing part which we are doing. Now we are gonna add one particular invisible component which is called as local storage, and I'll show you what is the difference between visible component and invisible component. So when you're adding any invisible component, it will not be in the top. Okay, inside the screen it will not be. As you can see, it is outside the screen. So that is where you can differentiate where you're adding the components. When you're adding the components, whether the component is a visible component or an invisible component. If it is a visible component, it will stay inside the screen in the designing part itself. If it is an invisible component, it will be going out and it will be in the very bottom. Okay, now I'll go to the blocks. So now the most important part over here for the blocks. Okay, when you click on add, first things first, when you click on In this version also, we will be having blocks for all the elements whichever you have added. Okay, so don't worry about it. So click on let's go. When let's go is clicked, okay, when let's go is clicked, wait for 1 second, which will be in control. Wait for 1 second and then welcome, and I will make it as to-do list. Okay, now let's see how it is working. So preview. So when you click on let's go, it has to wait for 1 second and go to-do list. Oh, why is it not moving? Wait a minute. Wait for 1 second and navigate to to-do list. To-do screen. Yeah. Okay, wait for 1 second. If I preview it. Let's go. Yeah, it is working now. Okay, now click on edit. So it is working perfectly till now. Now is the main important part. The coding part is gonna be little bit like complicated one. Make sure that you understand each and every step which I'm telling you, okay, because this one will be a little bit complicated compared to all the other coding part which we did. In that we will not use so many blocks, but in this we will be using an invisible component block, which will be a little little tough to understand, but make sure you understand it. So now I'm gonna go to the to-do list screen. When add is clicked, okay, when add is clicked, I will go to local storage, okay, and now you need to get call local storage save. So call local storage save. Now what I'm gonna do is, here call local storage save is nothing but we are going to activate the local storage. Okay, so whenever you're clicking on add, it should not wait any time and it has to save the data whichever you have given in the text input. Okay, so local storage save. Now here I'll go to text and I'm gonna get an empty text and keep it over here, and I'm just gonna make it as the key will be text. So what is the meaning of this one is, it should be a text format. Okay, now the value will be 1 minute. Text inputs text. So where is text input we have added? So text input, and we have to get text inputs text. So whatever we have added over there, it has to be stored inside it, inside the text input, whatever the data we are given, so that data should be stored over here. Okay, now once it is done, okay, once it is stored in the local storage, what should happen? Again I will go to local storage and I'm gonna get and keep it inside it. Okay, now what should happen? The same thing, I'm gonna just duplicate it, the text whichever we have added, and the value will be the data which you have saved. Okay, that is the value. Now what is the next thing? Again I will go to local storage and I'm gonna get create label. So we can, no, wait, we don't have label over here. Go to variables, no list. Now 1 minute. Oh, over here label, no, any component. One minute. Yeah, we are gonna get this and get create a label. Okay, as first in the column 2. So column 2, which means not column 2, actually we need to get it as a column 1. Wait, let me just check whether it is column 1. Yeah, so the left side is column 1 and this is column 2. I'll just go to blocks. So I'm just gonna get column number 1 and I'm gonna get column 1. No, wait, any component, and we will be having label 2 and keep it over here. and make it as column number 1. So what will happen is, whatever the data you have added, okay, it will be in a format like the data and the checkboxes. Data, checkboxes. If you wanted to reverse, you can just make first checkboxes and then the data. I'm gonna make it in a different format. First it will show you the text and then it will show you the checkboxes. Okay. So now the next thing what you have to do is go to component and set a label. Keep it inside it and make it like set labels component, which has this component text to, the value whichever you have added, you have to keep it over here. So the text has to be visible. No, the text will be the component and the label, value which you have given in the text input. Okay. Now I'm just gonna click on it, duplicate it and keep it right below it. So I'm gonna keep it to the top. Now component, make it as color. We can make the color, and to get the color we can make it as maybe blue. Whichever color you needed, you can get it. Now again I'm gonna duplicate it and I will keep it in the bottom, and the components text alignment should be center. That is most important thing. We cannot keep one in the left, one in the right, one in the middle, not like that. So we are gonna keep the text alignment. Okay, so where is text alignment? Let us check. Text alignment to center, or we can make it center or we can make it left or right, anything. So we will just keep it as center. Okay, yeah. Now again after this one I will go to any component. So this any component section will be having different kinds of codes. Okay, so you can get anything you like random codes, rather than keeping it in the UI controls and also regarding the components code and everything, the extra set of codes will be over here in the any component. You can get it from it. So now I'm gonna get create and I will keep it over here, and I can make it as switch buttons. I think you know what is the meaning of a switch button, right? If you are doing it, it's gonna show you off, and when you're done it will be showing you on. Okay, like that. So as first in, maybe go to column 3 again. Oh no, make it just as column number 2. That will be fine. So now, and then component, do the same thing, right click, duplicate. But here we are not going to keep it as a label, but we are going to keep it as a switch. Okay, so click on the label and I'm going to make it as switch components value to false. Always it has to be false when you are adding the component. When it's done, you have to turn it on. Okay, means clicking on the checkbox like that. Okay, now again, so when you turning it on, turning it off, we need to make some change like color difference. So components on tint color. Okay, that will be fine. Maybe you can make it as sky blue color. That will be fine, I think. Now once you make that one, the last thing which you need to do is, you have to get text input and get text inputs text to. Once the element is added, okay, once the element is added, the text input should be empty. So I'm gonna make it as empty one. Okay, that is most important thing. So this is the code for the add. Let me just zoom out and explain you one more time. Okay, so here what will happen is, when you're clicking on add, once the moment when you click on add, it is going to call the local storage, means it will activate the local storage to perform its action. Okay, what will happen? Call local storage, save the text which we have written in the text input. Okay, and then call text local storage. Like for example, once it is stored in the local storage, we have to able to see it. No, so if you want to see it, it has to get back from the local storage and it will be displaying it in the output. And then the value, the first thing which we are storing, okay, as first in is nothing but, first you will be adding a component, and next if you are adding another component, this component will go down and the another one will come in the top. Okay, and the color, the text font sizes and the values and text alignment, everything we will be doing over here. And after that one, it is a to-do list, and we have to make sure that we are using a check boxes like whether it is done, whether it is not done. For that purpose we are going to use a switch case. Okay, so it will be turned off every time whenever you are adding a component, and whenever you want it will be like, you have to complete the task and then you have to turn it on. Okay, now the next thing what we are going to do is we are going to make it for reset. Okay, so we have added two buttons now. So go to reset. When reset is clicked, I will get go to any component and I have to get remove, and then go to any component again and you have to get all the things whichever you have over there. So label, where is label? 1 minute. Okay, oh sorry, I just misclicked it. So a label in column number 1, because in column 1 we are gonna add the label, and column 2 we will be having the switches. Okay, so column 1, and the same thing, duplicate it, keep it in the bottom, switch to column number 2. Means whatever we have added, when the text is gone, there is no need to be showing that particular switches over there. Okay, so once the text is gone, even the switcher has to be gone. Okay, so that is the code for reset, and this is the code for add. I hope everybody understood about this, and if you did not understand anything, like you just have to figure it out. Like, it is so easy. You just have to like understand the logic what we are doing over here. Okay, just like when we are clicking on add, we are activating like local storage, and what should it do? It has to store the data first and then retrieve the data. It has to show on the monitor when you are giving the preview, and when it is showing first in the column 1, it has to show the text. In the column 2, it has to show the switches. If you want to change it, you can switch as column 1, column 2. If you switch it, it's gonna be switched. So once it is like showing on the screen, the text input text should be empty again. Okay, now the next thing is reset. When you're clicking on reset, everything should be gone. Okay, the text input should be empty and you have to remove the content whatever you have in the columns. Okay, so that is the simple code. Now I'll go to designing part. I'll go to welcome screen, click on preview. Now let's go, let's see whether it is working or not. So I'm just gonna add something like bottle add. Can you see that? So bottle will be over here, and the switch will be over here, and I can make it like milk and pencil. So this is like a shopping list kind of thing. If you want to make it, do homework, complete assignment. And over here what is happening is the color is not so good, no? So we can switch it on and switch it off, switch it on, switch it off, whenever you need it. Now I'm gonna click on edit. So just go to do screen, column number 1. I'm just gonna change the background color and the text color over here. Wait, okay, background color might be, I can give this white, and where is the text color? Advanced and styling. Borders we have, where is the text? White, container, background color, background picture resize mode. Oh yeah, over here. Maybe make it black. Okay, do the same thing over here. If you want, you can change it whenever you need it. So I'm just gonna make it black. Actually, for this column 2, it's not needed. Okay, so not needed. So I'm just gonna click on this. I'm just gonna change the background color for this one also, not the image, maybe background color. Yeah, that will be fine. So let us see whether it is working correctly or not. Yeah, now I'm gonna add do homework and click on add. Yes, it is showing now. Okay, like that what will happen is whenever you are doing using local storage, you can store the data whatever you are creating. Okay, so now this is how we do a to-do list using Thunkable, another version of the Thunkable actually. Now I'm gonna give you a small assignment I want you to make a little bit of changes in this to-do list. Okay, maybe your own version of to-do list you can make it, okay, by adding some unique things and all the other things. Let's see how good you can make your a to-do list. Okay, if you want you can add images, and if you want you can give a spacing. Like when I was adding the elements and everything, it was compressed, means it was attaching one by one. Maybe you can make the spacing over there, and you can add images, you can use more invisible components like sounds and all the other things. Let's see what you can do. Okay, so this is for today's video, and I hope everybody understood. So yeah, I'll meet you in the next video. Have a nice day. Bye bye, take care.